Everyone loves a good ghost story, but what would it be like to live in one? Just the thought of being visited from the other side is enough to keep us awake at night. In this video, we will look at the infamous story of the Hodgson family. What began as strange sounds quickly manifested into a violent energy in their home. Eventually, this energy would begin to speak through one of the Hodgson children.
Why can't Janet sue you?
I'm invisible.
You're invisible? Why are you invisible?
So much H-O-S-T.
We're going to take you back to the 1970s and discuss one of the most well-documented cases of a poltergeist haunting. Some of you may be familiar with this story, as it was the inspiration for the Hollywood motion picture, The Conjuring 2. Let's get into it. Enfield Poltergeist. In 1977, Peggy Hodgson, single mother of 4, was raising her children at 284 Green Street in Enfield, a suburb north of London. Her 2 eldest children, daughters Janet and Margaret, were doing what most 11 and 12-year-olds like to do. They were playing when something happened that would change the family's lives forever. Without warning, a chest of drawers began moving toward the bedroom door on its own. The 2 girls immediately stopped playing, ran to the corner of the room, and huddled together in fear. Meanwhile, Peggy was listening to the sounds coming out of the bedroom. She stopped what she was doing and went to the girls' room to tell her girls that it was time to settle down and go to sleep. Janet and Margaret told their mother what had just happened. Peggy, being the practical single mother that she was, assumed her daughter's story was the product of 2 creative imaginations rather than the truth. After reassuring her daughters that nothing was wrong, Peggy exited the bedroom. As she was walking away and looking at her daughters through the doorway, she started hearing the sounds of someone or something knocking on the walls. The noise was coming from all over the house. Suddenly, the heavy oak chest quickly moved again and slammed against the door, forcing it shut. The chest was now preventing Peggy from opening the door. Being fully convinced that there was more going on than overactive childhood imaginations, Peggy ran to the neighbor's home to ask for help. Peggy returned to her home with neighbor Vic Nottingham. Vic said that upon entry, he too heard strange noises coming from different locations inside the Hodgson's home. With her neighbor's confirmation that there was something strange going on, Peggy called the police. Soon after, a female police officer arrived and listened to Peggy describe what she had seen and heard. The officer tried to comfort Peggy by telling her she would take a look around the home, and that what Peggy had seen would be easily dismissed as a normal occurrence. While the officer was searching the home and looking for a logical explanation to counter Peggy's claims, she witnessed an armchair move 4 feet across the room after being propelled by an invisible force. The officer then quickly left the house after telling Peggy it wasn't a police matter. Still wanting answers, the Hodgsons decided to contact the newspaper to investigate. The first reporter to arrive was Doug Bentz of the Daily Mirror. He and photographer Graham Morris initially dismissed the Hodgsons' story as a hoax and got back in their car to leave the property. As they were pulling away, one of the neighbors ran out to stop them from leaving, shouting, "It's happening again." The reporter and photographer got back out of their car and re-entered the home. When asked what he saw, Doug Bentz said, "Inside the house, the children's Lego bricks were flying all over the place, going so fast you almost couldn't see them. The kids were screaming, and one of the bricks hit the photographer in the face." The reporter would leave with a story and the photographer a bruised face. The next day, the story would be featured on the front page of the Daily Mirror newspaper, marking the beginning of one of the most documented poltergeist hauntings to have ever taken place. Over the next 18 months, the Hodgsons' paranormal experiences continued. The banging sounds persisted, as did the furniture moving on its own. Chairs would be seen tipping completely over onto their sides. The family would find cups that had once been empty, filled with water, and without explanation. The actions of the evil presence inside the Hodgsons' home took an aggressive turn, from banging sounds, moving furniture, and small objects flying around the room, to fires randomly igniting around the house. Janet Hodgson recalls an evening when she was lying in her bed saying, "The most frightening encounter was when a curtain wrapped itself around my neck. It was as if the ghost haunting their home was trying to kill them." As the spirit's aggression continued to escalate, so did the Daily Mirror's news coverage. On one of his visits to the Hodgsons' home, photographer Graham Morris claims to have witnessed and photographed Janet Hodgson levitating in the air. This occurred on more than one occasion. Reporter Doug Bentz decided it was time to find someone with more experience investigating paranormal phenomenon, so he contacted Society for Psychical Research member Maurice Gross. Gross has gone on record stating that he personally witnessed over 2,000 incidents of paranormal activity during his time with the Hodgson family. He would spend hours with Janet as she fell into a trance and start speaking in a deep, scratchy voice. Even though Janet's mouth remained closed, the voice was clearly audible to those in the room with her. Gross made many audio recordings asking the voice questions, and the answers can be heard. This was how investigators were able to obtain an identity for the poltergeist haunting the family home. His name was Bill. In one of his interviews with Bill, Gross asked,
"I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died. Just before you died and just after you died."
Days before I died, I went blind. Then I had an hemorrhage, and I fell asleep, and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
The Daily Mirror was able to confirm that a man by the name of Bill Wilkins had in fact lived in the Hodgsons' home until the time of his death. Terry Wilkins, Bill's son, confirmed that his father passed away in a downstairs armchair after suffering a brain hemorrhage. As the story of the Enfield Poltergeist grew, more paranormal investigators visited the house at 284 Green Street, including Guy Lyon Playfair. Playfair claims to have been standing in the home when out of nowhere a marble appeared in front of him, floating in the air, which then suddenly dropped to his feet without a single bounce. Playfair also talked about an incident in which a book traveled through a brick wall only to appear inside the home next door. A team of demonologists also made their way to Enfield. Husband and wife Ed and Lorraine Warren, famous for investigating the case behind the inspiration for the Amityville horror movie franchise, arrived uninvited and only stayed for one day. The Warrens and other media have drastically overstated their involvement in the case. Other paranormal researchers investigating the Enfield Poltergeist portrayed the Warrens as opportunistic. The Warrens allegedly told other investigators about the money that could be made off of the situation. The traumatic paranormal activity experienced by the Hodgson family finally came to an end following a visit from a priest in 1978. After the priest blessed the family home, no other paranormal events were witnessed by the Hodgsons again. Janet Hodgson was the family member most affected by the disturbing activity occurring inside her home between 1977 and 1978. She and her siblings have shied away from interviews in the years since living at 284 Green Street. Janet has only given a handful of interviews throughout her adulthood. To this day, she continues to stick to her story. Janet has said growing up wasn't easy for her. Because of the media and local gossip, she and her siblings were often bullied at school. Looking back, she considers all of the attention the Hodgsons received as having an adverse impact on her family. But regardless of her negative feelings surrounding her past, Janet's story has never wavered. The investigators working with the family back in the late 1970s can be divided into two groups. The group consisting of reporter Doug Bentz, photographer Graham Morris, and paranormal researchers Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair all believe the haunting truly happened as reported. The group of paranormal investigators that believe this was all a hoax include Anita Gregory and Dr. John Beloff from the Society of Psychical Research. They claim to have witnessed the children bending spoons and banging on the ceilings with broomsticks. In 1980, Janet Hodgson told ITV News, "Oh yeah, once or twice we faked things, just to see if Mr. Grosse and Mr. Playfair would catch us. They always did." When Mother Peggy Hodgson passed away, the house would finally have new owners. Claire Bennett and her 4 sons only lived in the home for 2 months before moving out. When asked why they left the home after such a short period of time, Claire said that her children would get woken up by voices coming from downstairs. She had enough and decided to move out when her 15-year-old son woke up and saw a man enter his room. What do you think? Was the home located at 284 Green Street truly haunted by a poltergeist? Or was this just a hoax orchestrated by the Hodgson family? You can also tell us what you'd like to see discussed in future videos. Please let us know in the comments below. We upload at least 2 new videos each week. If you're a fan of true crime, the paranormal, or just anything strange, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads. It really helps us. Thanks for watching.